And so I knew the bits of her story then, and I thought I knew it really well. And we're walking down the beach, and she's retelling part of the story about something that happened to her at the end of medical school, and I was listening. And then she stopped and paused. And in my mind, I don't know if I thought this out loud in my mind like a little comic blurb, but I thought, it's my turn. I get to tell my bit of a story now about that time. And I almost opened my mouth to do it, and something, this internal clock just said, stop yourself. You don't have to do this right now. And so I remained quiet, and we kept walking down the beach. It was a beautiful sunny day, nice and warm, big waves. We walked for a good 5 minutes, and all of a sudden she broke the silence and picked up the story where she had left off. And it was a bit of the story I had never heard before. It was like in that space of silence and trust, she opened out, took out a jewel box, opened it out, and took the pearl out to show me the piece that was deeper inside. And so I never would have heard that part of the story, which made her whole life make sense to me, if I hadn't have shut up. If there wasn't a moment in my own silence to hold the space that we were sharing together, I probably never would have heard the bit that she had never shared. And there was such an internal conversation going on inside of me that I was aware that I was doing something special by being quiet. It's like they know I don't use a menu. When they train a new person, I heard them telling her, she knows what she wants. She doesn't need a menu.
So this is Prosser's historic district?
Yep.
I got that right.
Downtown. Yeah, it's a historic district. We have a historical district society. She's here. She asked me to bring her bike in yesterday, and I forgot. There's this image of gallery in the Oxford Dictionary, that galleries are these little pedestals or places you go and they have their own unique shape or form. And so if you're on the gallery a level down here and you don't move up or down to put your stuff somewhere else or hang out on it, you'll never have that experience that comes with putting it out there. I'm becoming the person that I want to hang out with and that I want to be from those experiences of sharing my artwork and myself. I had already worked in the theme of mosaics, doing big butterflies, and I wanted to explore that idea of the emergence of the cocoon. And so it's not one cocoon and metamorphosis, it's a series of them, which is how they are on a branch. They attach to the branch. And I painted it, it's a year ago last December. In the old days, I used to do crossword puzzles before Christmas, and then when I started getting more involved with visual arts again, I tried to make one big project in December or January. And so it's that place that it's no longer the deep darkness, that things are starting to grow and emerge from the light. And there was writing on it. It's overpainted quite a bit and then scratched into. And so if you look carefully, there's some writing that still remains. And the parts where the red underlays here are my fingernails scratching through the paint.
So it's a palimpsest.
Well, we were talking about that she wanted to, the filmmaker wanted to carry her camera around and just film that person for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And I said that I want to be that person for myself. I want to carry the camera around, and because if you're that person behind the camera, you're looking at the common part of a day, but you're also the editor and the director and there's a beauty in that. You can focus. I would want to be the one holding the camera on myself.
Yeah.
And it's because, finishing the big circle maybe today of this conversation about that knowledge you get of yourself when you stop to listen. And going back to the first part of this conversation, if in this book it talks about the two important things are love and death. In one conversation with someone I have known 50 years of my life, I waited an extra 5 minutes, and she took the pearl out of the box to tell me the rest of the story, and now her whole life makes sense to me, and it was about love and death. Those, those essential components that she kept tucked away because it was easier to tell maybe not easier, but you get in the place of telling the version of the story that either people want to hear or you know how to tell it really well that way. And so I think we ourselves forget that the pearl is down under there, and what a beauty it is when it comes out and you get to hear that bit of it.
Yeah.
As a pastor, that almost always happens to me at the end of a meeting, the one that you laugh about in the parking lot, when I am arriving at church and I'm 5 minutes late and I'm having to robe up. People will give me that little gem at these odd times, and I have to hold on to it and go, oh, that's the piece. It might be safe in that moment when I'm robing or doing whatever to tell me, because I don't have time to react, but I'm going to hold on to that piece because it's a real gift when you get it.
This is what?
That John 1 thing about in the beginning there was the Word, and so it doesn't say what the Word is. And so why do we have to invent it as 21st century people? Coming out of that window would be living a life out of the Beatitudes. That's what I would want to come out of that window. That part where Jesus simply gives people a way to live.